Welcome to RGES Pre-Algebra, Lesson 28A, Part 2. We're going to discuss our new concepts, constructing angles, and facts about circles. No, I'm sorry, that's not true. It'll be using a protractor and constructing angles. So here we go. Now you recall, you've done a little bit of work, I think, in class with protractors. So the important parts of a protractor here, we've got a line here. So you're not using the straight edge, you're using that line there, and it's got a center point. You could put it's a little hole. You could put a dot through that, and you're lining that up to your vertex, okay, wherever your vertex would be. And then you're going to have one set of measurements going on the inside from 0 to 90 to 180. And then on the outside of the same line, you're going to have the 0 there to the 90 to the 180. And that becomes just helpful to have that double measured grid. Okay, so how in the world then would I measure an angle? Well, let's say my angle is like that, and I want to measure it. I'm going to line up the middle of my protractor, that dot right there where you're going to stick your pencil in. You're going to line that up right there. So this represents half the protractor. Got it? Just like that. And so you're going to, well, should be a little better half mark. Something like that, a little bit longer. So anyway, so you're going to line it up with that middle point on the vertex, and then you're going to measure. Let's say we're measuring the angle. We're going to set it up so that we see where this line crosses. Okay, and this is why you want to be so familiar with the shapes of your angles, because if I'm measuring an angle that looks like this, I know it's going to be less than 90. So on here, on the measuring scale, I want to read the one that's less than 90. And in this case, maybe it would be 30 degrees. Okay, so you line your edge up, line the edge of the protractor up, line the marking circle, the center of that protractor straight edge line, okay, the marking circle to the vertex, and read the measurement, knowing what kind of angle it is. So if instead I had an angle like this, a nice long obtuse angle, again, I would line my protractor up like this with that dot right on my vertex, and I'm going to read the measurement on the protractor that's greater than 90 degrees and less than 180, the obtuse measurement. Maybe that would be 90, maybe 120 or something like that. I'm measuring this measurement right there. Okay, so hopefully that's real clear for you to see how that works. We'll test that, of course, give you the answers later. They've got several measuring. In fact, you're going to measure 6, 7, 8, 9 times. And that's just the skill of learning to practice using that protractor and measuring. Again, the key is before you decide which scale to read, you decide, is this an acute angle or obtuse? So you'll know which scale to use. Okay. Now, for the next ones, then you have a few shapes. So the first shape has how many angles? We have 1, 2, 3 angles. So it's my job to measure all 3 angles. Now, if it is a straight up or down, two perpendicular lines like this, I don't even have to measure that one. Angle 2 equals 90 degrees. But I do have to measure the other 2. How would I do that? I'd line up. Okay. The first one, let's say, well, number 3, I'm lining up with my protractor, my vertex there, my protractor going this way, right? And it's an acute angle, so I'm going to read the smaller number. And then I would do the same thing on the other one. Okay, don't forget you have to line up with your vertex. And so you've got a square that should be able to be done without much thought. You've got a always think before you're doing too much measuring. Think which ones are perpendicular. All perpendicular angles or lines have 90 degrees. So that'll help you not have to take all the measurements, right? So you should be able to do that just fine. Now we'll move on to 8.6, which is constructing angles. So now we were talking about measuring them, and now we're going with a protractor, and now we're going to talk about constructing them. That means if you have a blank sheet of paper and I said, I want you to give me a 45-degree angle, how would you do it? You might even be able to figure it out without any explanation on my part. So what I would do is I would just take my straight edge of my protractor and I'd just draw a line. I would probably decide to put the angle or the vertex right on the edge. If I went to draw a 45-degree angle, I would, after I've drawn my straight edge and I've got my point, I would line up the protractor just like before with that centering point. I would find my measure of 45 degrees, and let's say it's right there, and I would put a dot right there next to that 45. Take the protractor away, and with your straight edge, draw the second line. Okay? So, again, let's say I wanted to do 30 degrees. I would take my straight edge, draw a line. I don't even have to have it facing the same direction. Maybe I'd want to draw it there. Okay. Make that my vertex. Line up my protractor. What did I say, 30 degrees? Find my 30 degrees measure. Draw a point. Take my protractor away and use the straight edge to draw the second line. So this would be approximately 45 degrees, and this would be approximately 30 degrees. And that's how you do it. Okay, so let me take a look and see if there's anything else I want to explain on these two fairly simple and straightforward sections. Okay, I think that's all you need to know. Now, if you have any trouble at all visualizing this, since I don't have an actual physical protractor that I can show you with, just go ahead and ask your parent. I'm sure all your parents could teach you how to draw and measure angles with a protractor. Now, can you do it without a protractor? No, not very easily. So you'll need a protractor for this assignment. Now let me go to the next page just long enough to write down your homework assignment. So you'll be doing 8.5, 1 through 12 all. You'll be doing 8.6, 1 through 15 all, and the sharpening skills 1 through 19 all, and in addition you will be doing test 5. Now only test 5, you will receive it in your inbox, okay, emailed to you, and your parents, it would be at your parents' email. You'll receive it by tomorrow midday, and it must be mailed back. And I want to receive it within 1 week. Okay. Now recall, there was a reason for that. I don't want to get behind on tests because the grading for the fourth quarter will be tests only. Now, if you fall below 75%, you will have to do a retest. So make sure you study chapters 5 and 6 before taking this test. We've had plenty of review on those things. I don't think there'll be a problem. Text if you have any questions, and I can do an extra review for you, but only by request, okay? And it must be mailed back in the mail using the postal service, okay? 1 week. Again, you should have it by tomorrow evening. That should give me plenty of time to get that out to you. Okay, have a wonderful day, and many blessings on you. really, I would suggest that you use this time reflectively and thoughtfully. Seek to be, I hope you are blessed and seek to be a blessing. Bye now.